Has a pole in the back for your back.
Yeah, it is. It's called a Fat Boy hammock. Fat Boy Canada. It's
Did you get it from the hammock district?
No, the hammock district. No, in Hammockburg, Germany. No,
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, because I think that the
German hammocks are the best hammocks.
No, listen. The only hammock you have is a banana hammock. I have a nice Fat Boy hammock, and it is comfortable.
Princess Consuela banana hammock.
That's right. Yes, Paul Rudd. Yes, Princess Consuela banana hammock. Yeah.
I just feel that John is in a weird situation where he is like Rockwell, where John, do you know the line? Do you know the line from Rockwell? Yeah, I always feel like somebody's watching me. That classic song. Yeah. So that even Andre knows that song.
That's probably more my time than John's time, though.
Well, you're on the beach listening to that. And when Andre was young and hung on the beaches down south, the pictures that Andre can show one day of him on the beaches, that's he was listening to those tunes. So.
The only beach song John is aware of is anything made by Drew Hill. And the thong song. And that with Cisco.
That's how Cisco catches in.
That's it. You gotta when he's doing the one-handed cartwheels down the pristine white beaches of Florida.
Oh boy. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
See you guys later.
That's it. He's done. Grab the mic. Welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast. We are here to do a review of What If episode 4. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? So join us as we discuss full spoilers, full everything. But first off, I am your host, Dupay. With me today, both the owners and proprietors of Heroes World, your source for comics and everything else in Markham, Ontario. That'd be Andre and John. Please say hello.
Hello.
Hi, folks.
And of course, our resident Prince of Mischief himself, Mr. Rob Gadet. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Rob and I are still on our high of watching Shang-Chi, so we will refrain from mentioning any of those things. You can look forward to that review later on. But again, we're here to discuss What If. So here we go. This is episode 4 of, I guess, 9. So we're moving along.
9. Ooh.
I think 9 is
season 1
of season 1. All right, John, I'm gonna let you go first. Give us your thoughts. Give us your feelings. What'd you like? What'd you hate? Acting performance.
Yeah. So What If episode 4 featuring Doctor Strange. Small issue with me. I haven't watched the Doctor Strange movie in its entirety. So take that with it. I not that I dislike it or anything like that. I just missed it in theaters, and I never got a chance to just sit down and watch it. So that
if
happens.
only you had a Disney Plus streaming service
or
that might potentially
Netflix that's available.
This is the problem. This is the problem with streaming and Netflix. You turn it on, something else pops up. You go and do that something else, or something else grabs your attention, and it just kind of steam piles and the other things come out. So I just never got to it. I will have to watch it now that I've seen this episode because it's very interesting.
Plus, the multiverse of madness coming up soon. So
Yeah. New one coming up.
And Spider-Man. He's kind of in all these other movies, John. It's kind of
I've seen enough of it. I've seen the car crash in the movie, so I'm like, oh hey, wait, this looks familiar.
So what you're saying is you've seen the first 7.5 minutes of Doctor Strange 1 and you're familiar with it.
I believe so, yes. And that is where this episode takes its swerve. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Whoa,
I don't
no
believe
pun
that
intended,
character,
buddy.
Yeah, I don't think that character, the female character, is not in the car with him in the movie, as far as I remember.
Correct.
And you've only watched 7 minutes, so you remember a lot of that movie. Yes.
Yeah. I remember. I got all that 7 minutes on lock. So that's the catch with What If. Sometimes you get a What If you don't know the original story, maybe it doesn't quite hit. But I still enjoyed this episode. It might not rank as high as I don't know how you guys are going to rank them or whatever, just because I haven't seen the original, the full Doctor Strange movie. So once I see that, it'll probably go up higher. So of course, the voice acting, I believe everybody from the Doctor Strange movie is voice casted in this episode. I'm not really going to throw out anything I didn't like, because I think a lot of those things maybe would be filled in when I watch Doctor Strange or get a little more acquainted to him. So I'll run off the things that I really did like. So I'd like the Watcher. So we actually get to see the Watcher in full form, not just in the background. He actually comes in, talks and does some stuff. And I think this is cool. Like, this is an old school character, and Andre might be able to fill in the blanks or whatever. That just kind of went away in the Marvel universe during I think a random crossover that killed him. But he's one of those staples, like one of these old school characters that you're kind of like, this guy should always be around. So it does add that comic booky feel, and I hope he does get integrated into the MCU or something along those lines, because I feel like he's just a part of the Marvel universe. Like, he should almost be on the Marvel logo from back in the day. So I did like seeing him.
Well, John, he's quite coming out, essential for the Fantastic Four, so I think he'll be around for at least that bad boy. And then
and it's a neat thread. So like, the thread is that he's going to be in all these episodes. So I know What If it's good disposable episodes, but it will be cool if we see all these linked together. So another link is this tentacle monster. I don't know if it's the same tentacle monster that the what's her name in the first episode is fighting.
Captain Carter.
Captain Carter. I like, if that's the same tentacle monster, that's kind of cool. So we have this thing that's maybe potentially going to come up and give us kind of a payoff for watching all these episodes instead of just, giving us single servings and then bouncing. So it's kind of neat if they tie all that together. I like the idea of there's like this event that he's trying to change, and it just can't change no matter what he does, no matter whatever mutation. He doesn't get in the car, he stands her up, whatever kind of thing. It just always happens. So it's like this inevitable thing that always happens to him. He can't change it no matter what he does, but he still goes for it, and that's when he gets all the consequences. And then the last thing, I don't know if this is a new character or whatever, but the Beetle Doctor Strange variant with the that he gets the cape from or whatever, that guy was cool. I want to see more of that guy. So I definitely liked like a lot of this stuff. The mysticism stuff is not really in my wheelhouse of favorite Marvel characters, I say, but I do like characters like Blade and Ghost Rider and things like that all delve into this realm. So I definitely got to open the door and let Doctor Strange in. So those are my thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, it's to your point, the Beetle one could be the same universe as the Loki alligator, or the Thor frog, or Spider Ham himself. So we'll look forward to seeing more of those random wackadoo characters. Andre,
the whole universe and everybody's insects, and then you have like Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
stuff. I'll sign on for that.
Andre and I talked in episode 1 about, like, I think it was like Sumgorath as potentially the thing, but I think Andre mentioned that the face and the mouth and the eyes were different. So it could be just a random space galactic monster and not someone specifics. But I guess we'll have to wait to see more of the creature. But Andre, give us your thoughts. What'd you like? What did you dislike? Performances? What do you think?
I thought this was another really good episode for this show. I'm actually kind of wondering, I don't know if you guys know, but what was the original timeline? Was this show supposed to come out last year, or was it always set for this year? Like, do you guys remember?
Yeah, I feel like they had announced it and it was supposed to debut in 2020.
Yeah, and it was announced in 2018. So
yeah, was it supposed to be before the live action shows or in between the live action shows?
I think so, but then I think they decided to push it.
But I think they also had issues with production, because a lot of the art is done, and they had to push back just because it took longer for them to do, which is why they pushed back the orders from 10 episodes to 9. So there was a lot of logistical errors. Not only did they lose an episode, but they also were pushed back because animation stuff was difficult because with COVID, right? People were doing it at home and they couldn't do it in the office with, if you worked in animation and you show up and basically there's a giant render farm for you and lots of gigs to do your animation, and now you're doing it at home. So it's really hard to do it and send that file over the internet to like someone else to review. So it is a kind of a different aspect that they had to deal with COVID. But yeah, to your point, Andre, it probably was, like a lot of things, expected to come out earlier. But I think it does.
But do we know if this was supposed to be, like, was it supposed to be after, like, WandaVision or before? Like,
I think it was always supposed to go after. Yeah.
It was also okay. Yeah. So I guess I will say 4 episodes in, so over halfway in, or around just about the halfway mark, whatever. I'm really enjoying the creativity of these shows. To me, it's showing the potential of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think these 4 episodes that we've got are more creative than the last dozen movies or half a dozen movies, quite easily. The premises, they're taking risks on them, the execution of the story, like just what we see and how they choose to show it to us. To me, there's a level of just extraordinary storytelling in just the visuals. It's like they're not hindered by a CGI budget or, oh, we can't be this. Like it's why things I believe should be animated. To me, it's the next best thing to comics being the top, this animation, this quality being this, the last being live action, like and I think this story,
limitations.
And this is showing that, hey, they still have writers who are creative, they still have people who can put together something that's just super imaginative. Like, again, these are 30-minute shows, and all of them I think were better than Black Widow and way better than Loki. I know we've talked a little bit about it before, but to me, these episodes deliver. I look forward to them each time. Usually, you think they start with the thunder and then it fizzles off. No, they started with a bang, and they've basically maintained this level of kind of excellence. This particular episode, I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan and a huge fan of what they did with him in the movie. But this particular episode, giving us more of a difference in his background, and it was almost more of, again, that comic book Strange, that weirdness, those other dimensions. Not everything was just the shiny disc glyphs and stuff. Loved how he was absorbing the powers and all those different forms and beings, and he was just taking them. As John mentioned, the cricket or whatever it was, the bug. And then if you guys notice, that is almost the classic Doctor Strange cape, So I really like that nod. Like, it's getting close to the original material. Even though it was darker and stuff like that, you could almost empathize with him. You're like this. He wasn't doing it for power's sake or anything. He wanted, he wanted to bring his love back. And he had the ability to do it. And he's like, well, why can't I do this? I can do all of these things. The impossible is only impossible until you do it. And he had proven that he could do it before, right? He learned and did all this. So I thought, again, super, super good episode. I loved seeing the fight between the two Stranges. That was amazing. Again, if you're a Doctor Strange fan, the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, when he ties him up, oh man, it was just so cool to see that stuff. I think the only thing that I didn't like, and I think it's a meta problem. It's not a problem with this show. It's the problem with the power of the time gem. In the original movie, he can beat Dormammu by playing an infinite amount of times and saying, I'm going to lock you up infinite. And Dormammu's like, okay, screw it. I'm letting you go. In Infinity War, he sees 13 billion outcomes and chooses the one. So to
identifies, doesn't choose the one.
Sorry, he doesn't choose. He identifies. He could have watched more, right? In my opinion,
oh, finally, I figured it out.
I don't think he had much more time, Andre. They were in the middle of battle.
But that's the thing. Yeah. He had an infinite amount of time, right? He could have watched every different thing. So in this one, even though they explained it really well, to me, it doesn't line up. You've got the time gen. You can go back. You can change him. He could have went back in time, grabbed her from her point in the past, and brought her to the future, right? We've seen that in the other movies and stuff like that, right? So that's my only hiccup with it. But at a certain point, at least they gave an explanation that I can buy into. I don't think it was the best one, but at least they did it, because they could have just said, no, you can't do it. And that was it. But I thought it was, other than that, very smart. You mentioned about the performances. It was really nice to hear all their voices again, and stuff. I think that brought a nice level of authenticity to it. But also it helped to really make me go, I got to watch Doctor Strange again, because I really really dug that movie. And so yeah, so
But
this one,
to be
again,
fair, Andre, like all of the what ifs are kind of like it's the way I'm describing it, it's like it's all like nice furniture, like window furnishing. It's like it just looks nice from far, but if you really start picking apart any of the what ifs has holes in them, and you're like, well, why did they do this, and it wouldn't happen. So like it's
No,
kind
but
of they are what they are. It's
in
and to your point,
general,
you're completely correct. Like the logic of like why doesn't like she keep on dying? It's like, well, like it doesn't make sense to me watching the episode.
Stop
like,
getting rear-ended. Use your magic to get the guy.
Yeah,
to stop
yeah, like
rear-ending
all like it's just like it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I don't.
but I think that's again that goes back. It's the initial problem of
that's
when you're dealing with the time stone. Like we can't rank all the infinity gems, but again, the time stone, if you can stop time all the time, you can't be beat. Even if somebody will have to say,
what do you need the other stones for?
Yeah, what do you need the other stones for? Like you'd be like, oh, hey, I can use the reality stone to alter how time works. It'd be like, well, maybe which one of those trumps each other. But there was a really cool part. I don't know if you guys caught it. They did a really nice transition when they showed the exterior of the library, and they just keep throwing time. Then the librarian or the protector of the library, he's like, you have been here for centuries.
Yeah.
And like, yo, so you know how powerful he is at that point. And I will say one of the things that I really loved the nuances in the animation when he would draw in a new being, you saw his silhouette change or some part of him change, and then I was like, oh man, what if he's going to just look like that at some point? And I was waiting for them to do it, and thank God they did. Like at the end when she sees him and she's horrified, I was like, yo, they did it. And I was thinking, it would be such a letdown if they didn't do it, but man, they did it. I again, almost a flawless episode for me, like another strong outing.
And to be fair, Andre, to the movies, and I think we all know how the sausage is made, is that those action CGI set pieces are made even before like half the actors are cast. Like they start working on that before the movie is even like started, because it takes so long to do the rendering and stuff. Like the directors for these movies, that's why you can add like a young new director, because they don't direct any of the CGI battle scenes. They're like, you let an art house and someone else basically do it, and then all the acting part you let the director do it, because it's too expensive and it takes too long. We're so used to seeing good CGI, and if it's cheap, and we've seen it before for cheap CGI that we've seen in certain movies, like it just takes you out of it. Like all those Fast and Furious movies, I'm sure they're already working on CGI already for it, and there's probably barely any script, but they know what the set piece is going to be. They're like, it's going to be this, but they got to work on it 2 years in advance, because that is the nature of the industry.
That's the crutch of that type of industry. Yeah, all that stuff's got to be pre-planned, so they have to write a story around it. So maybe that's why they can't do it. So Andre's exactly right. When you go animation,
the world is your oyster. You can get any actor, you can get anyone you want. Like we talked about it with Winter Soldier. They lost, and Loki, they lost people that were supposed to show up in the show because of COVID, and they couldn't show up. But if it was animation, record their voice, you can draw them, it's no problem. But so that is always an issue, and I agree with you, Andre.
Time
comic is always the best. Animation is perfect medium, and then if you don't want to read, and then the movies kind of come in at the end. But
I was going to say that, are books like the top then, because it's all theater of your mind?
It's just a matter of how
I think that's a great question, but I think at a certain point, for overall like storytelling and kind of like the architecture of a story, sure, but some people can't get into them. But that's why a good comic is the blending of art and story. You can have a beautiful comic book, but if there's nothing to it, unfortunately it's not going to rank up there. Or you can have a very wordy comic and beautiful art, and you might just be like, that's it. It just didn't pull me in. So you're always looking for that perfect, meld of it. And
just like the Underwater Welder. Like if that was just a book, I don't know if I could just be down. Like why would I buy this big novel called The Underwater Welder? But man, when you have pictures of an underwater welder, I'm all in. So
you know what? You guys laugh, and
in stock right
now. You better have read
this
fucking book, because I'm telling you guys are missing out. It's great, and Ryan Gosling's going to kill it in that movie.
Oh my gosh, I
you heard it here, folks. Rob's prediction.
or Ryan Reynolds, either one. Rob, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so I like the episode. I mean, for me, you know, when I'm watching these things, I'm always thinking about other. And it's just the way my brain works. I'm always like picking out different things. Like, first of all, I like that this episode, you have the accident. He loses his Christine, and thanks. I was gonna say Claire, Christine
Palmer.
But then they still do the rest of the movie. Like you still see him learning and then going and fighting Dormammu, just like the actual movies. So that was the first time out of these 4 episodes that they've kind of done that. They've always usually veered off right from the beginning, but they still had the crux of that movie was, kind of crunched into like a 45-minute or a 45-second or a minute montage, right? So that it really makes you familiar for those who would have saw more than 7 minutes of the movie. When I'm watching this, I actually messaged Stu and I was like, hey, this is like, didn't Abed call this in Community season 3? This is the darkest timeline. And if anybody's familiar with Community, he actually cut out a felt goatee, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. He's looking like Doctor Strange. Andre mentioned
that's the playoff of Star Trek in the mirror universe, right?
Yes.
So anytime anyone has a goatee, they're evil.
Yeah, they're evil. Andre mentioned that the episode was dark. Now, for those who haven't seen it yet,
why are you watching?
Why are you watching this? Why are we listening to us at this point? But however, I would say I made the mistake of watching it in my living room midday today. It is very dark. And so if you have a wonky reflection coming in from like a window or a door somewhere else in your house, it is very hard to see, to make out certain things. Like it is one of those things that are probably best viewed in the evening or into like in a basement setting if you can. The Strange, as Andre pointed out, Strange versus Strange reminded me, I haven't seen anything that much fun since Superman 3. When you had the 2 Supermen battling each other. Overall, I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was smart. I did have the nitpick about like, listen, why do you keep replaying the same stupid shit over and over? Like, just use your magic and have the guy not rear end you or do something else. Like you are. And I don't know if it was a purposeful.
He tried that.
No,
he tried all kinds of.
But he kept.
He didn't really try it, John.
But he could have done some mystical thing to like push the car away, do something, and he never did. And so, because it kept happening over and over again, part of me was like, is he purposefully not doing what he can to stop this event from happening? Like, is he wallowing in his self-misery? You pick a scab and you keep picking at it, and after a while, it gets itchy or this and that, but there is a form of relief when they keep scabbing over, to keep picking it away and scabbing over and and I started wondering, like, is he purposefully causing himself to relive this over and over again, despite, doing what he can, quote unquote, to stop it? He's not really. Or was it just bad? Was it just like, well, was it a writing faux pas? I don't know. But for me, I was taking it that he was accepting he can never change this fixed point in time. If you're a Doctor Who fan, it's a fixed point in time. You can never change it. And yet he kept replaying it, almost like he needed to feel that pain. I don't know. That was the takeaway I got from that. I thought it was really interesting. I didn't see the fact that the Ancient One had split Strange in two, to essentially trap one in the pocket universe, and have the other one I thought that was like really cool. I again, and I'm an idiot because I thought, oh, the good Strange is going to defeat this guy, even though he's like power level 1,000. I was like, Strange has got this. Like, good Strange, no, bad Strange took him out. I like the way that reality was bleeding away. Like, it wasn't. They didn't rehash what we saw with Infinity War of everything turning to dust, or even like a white light coming through and just like, wiping people away. Like the fact that it reminded me of like a lava lamp. When things start breaking apart, you would see like the people in the streets were like turning to goo and flying up in the air. Like I was like, visually, I was like, wow, like I was just not expecting that. I was really happy with the way that they did it. So kudos to the animation team. I know that Ryan Meerending, I think is his name. He's been the guy since Iron Man 1 who's been doing like all the visuals, but he's tasked with this show of doing the art style and everything else. So I've butchered his name, but he did a fantastic job with that. So yeah, listen, overall, I quite enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
So typically I would ask about should this story carry on, but this was seemed to be a kind of a very defined ending. There have been rumors, and Andre mentioned before, that maybe there's a larger storyline. John, can you hypothesize with us what do you think this season arc is about? Like Kevin Feige said,
no clue
it's a storyline, but like what is
other than that weird tentacle monster? Maybe it's going to turn into something, or I assume the Watcher is just going to step in and do something crazier, right? So I don't even know.
I hope he doesn't. This is the one thing, and John, you had mentioned this, is that this is the first time he kind of interacted. Like Strange picked up his presence at that one moment, and then he was looking around. He's like, I don't know. And then they started talking to the Watcher, and the Watcher broke his own code, his own rule, and was speaking. And he said, you know better than anybody that you cannot, meddle with time and this and that. He essentially gave the Jor-El speech to Superman from Superman the movie. But you know what? I don't know what the question was, but I actually hope for the last few weeks I've been saying, I bet you they're going to connect it. Right now, I actually hope they don't. I hope they leave it as these.
It's going to be
ones.
So.
I know, but I would like.
You got nothing.
I'm actually kind of in. I don't know. I kind of liked it.
Andre, thoughts?
I think because they focused on the universe collapsing and not destroying, and then it kind of is a multifaceted gem. I think that's going to be picked up because he is still in there and he's infinitely powerful at that point. So maybe it's and also while we didn't have redemption with the character, he did see the error of his ways and he was like, okay, punish me, not the rest of the universe. So if they do something, maybe it's something like something happens and they're saying, hey, we're going to need somebody really strong, and maybe the Watcher is going to say, well, there's a pocket universe where there's this gem, or maybe he'll be just one of the gems of power. It just happens to be a super powerful version of Doctor Strange in the thing. But you asked a really interesting question, Stu, about should this story have continued. And while I was watching it, and you're kind of comparing it to what we've seen in the previous episodes of the What If, I was almost like, would it be bad to show that this universe was altered and saved by this Strange? Like, he was so powerful and his will was so powerful that he did the impossible, and that's what Doctor Strange does. So it would have been really cool if he says, no, I'm going to get her back and I'm going to save the universe. And then just be like, and the Watcher says yes. And in some universes and some realities, things change that much, right? So it's kind of this lesson, but at the same time, I was kind of rooting for him. I was hoping, that they would say, okay, yes, once the two come back and combine, he will get a little bit more of his not nicer self, but obviously the other self was too powerful. But just the two of them combined, maybe they could have made it happen, right? So it would have been interesting if just the end the Watcher's like, oh, well, I didn't think that they could do it, but I am here observing.
I'm not gonna lie, Andre. When they're like, I have to absorb the other one, I was like, this is Dragon Ball Z. Like, I just sat there and I'm like, wait, I saw this storyline already. John, you remember what it is in Dragon Ball?
No, I'm not a Dragon Ball guy.
You're not a Dragon Ball guy?
You're on your own.
Goodness.
I missed it. I missed that.
Oh, okay. Well, in Dragon Ball, one of the main bad guys.
I know there's like
there's a bad guy who's a good guy who's an anti-hero, and he's a Namek. And he's one of the bad guys, and then he becomes a good guy, and you find out that him and one of the other Nameks, Piccolo, who's the bad guy, who's basically fought all the Dragon Ball characters through most of the series, basically combines with his other form, because you figure out that you discover that Piccolo is actually the evil version of this main character. The good guy, the guy who created the Dragon Balls, who's like the peaceful one, pushed out the evil out of him, and that created Piccolo. And then when they combine their forms together, they become uber powerful. So
they become Galvatron.
That is that's basically Dragon Ball. So I was laughing. I'm like, oh yeah, this is 100% what this storyline is.
So I want to throw out a bit of a conspiracy, and maybe it's just me. Marvel doesn't do anything on by accident. It's always purposefully done. And I thought it was really interesting that they dropped this episode a week after they unveiled the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer with a questionable Doctor Strange in it. I think we can all agree there's something, he seems a little bit wonky. Is that just a happy coincidence, or do you think that this is opening up the door for what we might be getting from No Way Home with a Doctor?
Do you think
Strange?
that's not the proper 616 Strange? Is another Strange who's there, who's fooling around doing stuff?
I don't think
the
it's
theories. He doesn't have
Mephisto.
the marks on his hands, right? He doesn't have the marks on his hands.
Well,
He
his
has
hair-
the Eye of Agamotto, which makes no sense. Why would he have the Eye of that's gone? So like he has it.
Seems like a stretch to me to have your audience try and follow that path into this, but
I'm
Man,
not saying it's a
let's just say, John, that they
but-
in Shang-Chi they go for it, and everyone in theaters like, yeah, okay, let's carry on. Like at this point, it's kind of like Loki, where you're like, I'm not even questioning the alligator anymore. Like just everyone's just kind of bought in, and you're like, yeah, I'm here. This makes no sense. I'm not even questioning the alligator version of us. Let's just keep on going.
That's the next show. That's
Like
the next show.
they gloss over a bunch, and when you watch Shang-Chi, there's like they gloss over a bunch of stuff. I'm like, did they just what? Like my mind was blown. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Gloss it over in like a 1 minute like montage scene of just wood. So you have that to look forward to. Rob already's thinking, is like, what is he talking about? But nonetheless, my question to you is that I think Andre's already touched upon it. This Doctor Strange, this specific one that has the powers, who is still kind of deranged. We don't know what kind of influences these aliens and different beings have start to mess with his noggin. Would he be someone that could show up in the MCU, and would he be interesting to either fight or to work with? Like, is this a Doctor Strange that you would like to see in the proper actor MCU form? John?
Oh, like in the new movie coming out, like if he turns out to be like the bad guy or something like that. I don't know about that. I like this animated universe, right? So I don't know if I want it like going all over the place. I actually want it to like kind of stick to
Based on the rumors, it looks like a bunch of the anime people are showing up in the bunch of
yeah. So I guess it makes sense why you're gonna waste your assets. But I like this kind of universe so far that they're creating, and I enjoy just watching these what ifs. So I guess if it bleeds over into other stuff, sure, go for it. But I'm fine with what they're doing now.
Andre, your thoughts?
The
You're rooting
concept
for
of-
them. Do you want more of them?
I would take more of them in comic book form or animation form. I think the problem that you would have by putting this in the MCU proper is how would you show on any type of budget like that type of, you know, all his power sets and the thing, it would take
New cape, Andre?
Hmm?
New cape?
Yeah, well, you can have the new cape, but I'm just talking like to show what he's really capable of and stuff. I think it would be a disservice to be done in live action, and also too, like, basically what this Doctor Strange is a better or a stronger version of what Mordo was doing. Mordo was going to go around on Earth and absorb the magic and take the magic back from people that he didn't think was worthy. So if they were going to bring this Strange in, it would undo or overshadow or you know, just belittle what they set up with Mordo. And I hope they get back to that Mordo story, because that to me was what made the original Doctor Strange movie even more powerful, is that they set the beginnings to have I don't want to say a legitimate, but a worthy villain who has a reason to be doing what he's doing, not just we need a bad guy for this movie and
Because he
therefore we're
believes.
gonna have this thing, right? You know,
Yeah,
so
conviction,
so
yeah.
I'm hoping he returns at one point. Maybe not. Maybe it won't be in the second movie. Maybe if Doctor Strange gets a third movie. But if they built up that character of Mordo in the first movie only to go this route of, oh, we're gonna pull in multiverse, different versions of the characters or whatever, then that's a lost opportunity in my opinion.
Yeah. Rob, final thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, I just floated that whole conspiracy theory thing about with Spider-Man No Way Home. But to be honest with you, I actually kind of think I made this comment to you guys when we were watching Loki. And I said, the problem with this is that it gets to be too convoluted and it gets very difficult for the average person to be able to follow the thread, to follow along with the movies. It started to get, you can see how some people are like, wait, what are we dealing with in Infinity War? And who are these people? Like if you've watched all 22 movies, but maybe didn't pay attention to them, you'd be like, what's happening? Like John, he could piece it together, but he didn't know what happens after the car accident, right? In Doctor Strange. But I think though, then if you are now bringing these characters from the What If universe and throwing them into the cinematic universe, if people don't like, I think it'd be very difficult. I think it gets too convoluted. There's too much. It's too much like spaghetti all over the place, and it starts to lose the narrative. Like what they've done very well in these movies is that through line narrative, and I think it gets to be too much if they can't explain it. But I've always conceded though that they would have, and Andre disagrees with me, but they have better writers than I can come up with shit that I can come up with. So I guess they'd figure it out, but I don't personally. I think I like it kind of being in its own thing.
Okay. John, your rating out of 10?
So out of 10, so I told you ahead of time that it's going to be a little lower than if I go and watch the movie and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a little more, but I had to put it at like around 7 out of 10.
The first 7 minutes that you saw Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I think once I watch the whole thing, then it's definitely going to be 8 or higher.
Andre?
9 out of 10.
Oh, hello. Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Andre. 9.
All right. I'm going to ask you all a question about what Doctor Strange comic can you recommend for people to check out? I'll go with John first. Do you have any Doctor Strange comics?
I don't have a Doctor Strange recommendation, but the closest thing I could come up with is Jason Aaron's run on Ghost Rider. If you like this kind of mystical, kind of crazy out of the box stuff, so it is available in omnibus that we can get, and I think there's a brand new softcover printing on the way. So it's fantastic fun if you like kind of like how kind of out there this Doctor Strange episode got. So you got Danny Kesh and Johnny Blaze Ghost Riders. They unlock this whole idea that there's multiple Ghost Riders through history and stuff like that. So it was really a lot of fun.
Okay. Andre, what do you have for people?
All right. So I'm gonna sub in on John, and I'm gonna do 3. So bear with me. So first of all, Jason Aaron did an amazing run on Ghost Rider with Chris Bocolo art. Followed up that Ghost Rider stuff. Really big, fantastic stuff. Basically, it's Mephisto versus Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange goes to hell in Vegas. Amazing run. My Doctor Strange recommendation is going to be Doctor Strange, the Surgeon Supreme. And this came out, I think, 2 years ago, and it's Mark Waid. Amazing run in which Doctor Strange makes a deal to get his hands back so he can be a surgeon. And it was a fantastic run, but there's a price to be paid for any dealings with magic. So highly recommend that. We've got those graphic novels at the store. And for my current recommendation, my 3 for 3, John's got a beautiful picture of Uatu the Watcher behind him. And this week, a really cool comic came out called Dark Ages by Marvel Comics, and it's written by Tom Taylor, who's just been doing an amazing job on everything that he's touching. This book is basically a what if. So if you have been enjoying the What If series and you're looking for more what if comics, Marvel doesn't print anything under the What If banner, but they do these side stories. So this is a story on what if the Marvel Earth is plunged into a new dark age, whereas meaning there's no power out there anymore. And the Watcher does show up, and they explain how this happens. So it's really cool. How do I know this is a what if story? Well, in the first couple pages, we see that Peter and Mary Jane have a daughter. So we are seeing May Parker as a young child in this. So we know it's not our regular Earth, but it is another splinter universe. So issue 1 on stands right now. We've got tons of copies. And as a side note, there's an awesome variant cover by Francis Manipul, a local guy, and this might be his first Marvel cover work. So you guys got to check that out.
See, Rob, it doesn't matter. You can just keep on adding stuff. Don't worry about getting people confused. You just keep on adding to the train. Do you have a recommendation?
For a Doctor Strange comic, I don't. I do.
Don't worry, Andre covered us. All three.
Okay.
We got
All
it.
right, hang on.
Wait.
All right.
Is he grabbing one water Weller?
No. This is a book. It's called Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And if you haven't read it, this is about a guy who wakes up in the street and he doesn't understand, what's going on. And he goes back to his house and his wife and his kids are no longer there. And they almost like they never existed. He thinks he's going crazy. He finds out that he's actually woken up in a multiverse essentially. And he's trying to get his way back to his family. So this is actually really, if you ever Wayward Pines, there was a book and there was a TV series. This is the same guy who did that, but yeah, it's all about him trying to make his way back, and they use like literal doorways through the multiverse as he's trying to figure a way to get back. And he wants to know how he ended up where he was, and it was because somebody potentially could have been one of his other selves, or trying to take over his life. So I would recommend Dark Matter by Blake Crouch if you are into multiverse stuff.
All right. And final, before we get to the end, as we discussed before, Shang-Chi is coming out. It's out already. Some people have the opportunity to watch it. Some people have not. But I want to ask our panel today, is there a martial arts film you recommend someone check out right now before watching that movie? I'm going to let you go, John. If you could pick a martial arts movie for someone to watch before Shang-Chi, what is your martial arts film? Like, what should people watch? Because this is what Marvel's doing. It's their first martial arts film. So what do you got for us, John? What's the movie?
There's so many things to choose. Like,
I know.
If we start getting historical, but directly related to this movie in particular, because a lot of the stunt performers on this movie, I think, are involved in Shang-Chi. So that's Jackie Chan's Gorgeous. So if you have watched any of the clips of the fighting from this movie, it definitely has a Jackie Chan flavor. Jackie Chan, the godfather of all things kung fu in the Asian cinema, and the crossing over into North American cinema, definitely something you should watch if you haven't watched, or just any Jackie Chan film you can go watch, have some fun, except for maybe the Tuxedo, but
Andre, a martial arts film you recommend people to check out?
Well, man, if you're gonna do martial arts, you got to do something Bruce Lee. So I'd probably say Enter the Dragon.
Yep. 1973's Enter the Dragon. So for the kids out there who don't know what it's about, Bruce Lee shows up on an island, and there's a tournament happening. It's more of a tournament than Mortal Kombat ever was. So there, he actually shows up. There actually is a tournament, and he fights. So it's more of a Mortal Kombat than Mortal Kombat.
But it's so cool because it holds up, because you're watching it for the fighting, and the fighting holds up. It doesn't matter about the cinematography and the sets and all that stuff in the story, but you just watch this fighting and it's unreal. Like, you can't fake that, it's one of the best fighting movies or martial arts movies out there.
I will say though, I'm really glad that they advanced the sound effects for punching and kicking from the 70s to now, because it just sounds like a meter stick smashing up against a watermelon.
Hey, that's strong. You got all those gaffers, right, man? That's the heart of the business, where they're making the sound effects.
There's breaking pencils.
Yep.
Yes. So I am going to recommend, and if you haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, try to find, if you haven't seen it, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think that you will appreciate some of the artistic fluidity from that movie and Shang-Chi.
One of my favorite movies, Crouching Tiger.
It's a good one. All right. Where can we find John?
Wait, what do you recommend, Stuart?
Andre had a great pick, Enter the Dragon. Of a Jackie Chan movie, I'm going Drunken Master 2, I believe.
Say 2. I was going to say 2.
Drunken Master 2, aka The Legend of the Drunken Master, is the Jackie Chan creme de la creme. You did mention Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So if I had to go out of the 4 that have already been picked, it's either Once Upon a Time in China or Ip Man as like the Jet Li / Donnie Young, both at their peak martial arts film. So Once Upon a Time in China is Jet Li, and he's just awesome. And then of course Ip Man is Donnie Young. So
I'm surprised because before the show, you were telling me to watch American Ninja with Lee Van Cleef. So I was very surprised that you've.
Well, I thought I told you Beverly Hills Ninja with
right. Sorry, my bad. Yes,
wait, Chris.
That's right. Yeah, it was Chris Farley and the guy from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Robin Shun from Mortal Kombat. So that's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
John, Andre, where can they find you on the internets? And tell us all the fun stuff that's happening.
Yeah. So online, if you're looking for us, Instagram, Facebook, our most active Heroes World Online, all one word, as well as the YouTube channel. If you're looking to tag us in your Facebook post, you can type @Heroes World Online, all one word, and it'll actually link us to the story. A couple of people asked me how to do that. And then if you're listening on the audio Heroes World podcast on wherever you get your podcasts, please subscribe, give us a listen. So if you can't watch the YouTube videos or watch us on screen, you can take us on the go, listen to us in the car or on a jog or whatever you do.
Andre?
And in the desert of the real, as we say, our store is open 5 days a week from Tuesday to Saturday. Basically, our hours are about 12 to 6, with Wednesday and Friday we are going till 9 o'clock. Wednesday being New Comic Book Day, so you can get your fill on that. So yeah, come by, check us out, say hello, get a recommendation, get yourself a board game, a comic book, a graphic novel. We're really stepping up our graphic novel selection, and John's been bringing in some amazing toys. So all these what if characters you're seeing, there's a wave of Marvel Legends hopefully on the way. So come by and check that out. But we get new stuff, man, almost daily, but so minimum twice a week we're getting new stuff. So there's always something new to come in and check out at the shop, and that's in Markham, Ontario, 8601 Warden Avenue, just south of just north of Steeles if you're coming up from the city. So it's a nice easy drive, lots of free parking, lots to do in the plaza. But of course you're gonna come to see us because we're the main attraction.
Yep. And of course, we always ask you to support local. If you are unable to support John and Andre and buy something for their wonderful establishment, if you can subscribe or like or hit the bell on any of their platforms, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on a review on Spotify or a review on iTunes, that helps them get exposure. Believe it or not, not everyone knows in Markham that this comic book store exists. So even though they've been in operation for over 20 plus years, it's just good to get the word out. And people have left the area, but there are always people moving in. So if you are unable to be there, support them physically, please like, subscribe, and do all the stuff. There is content every day that's coming out except for Saturday. So other reviews, book clubs, interviews, reviews, you name it all, it's coming at you, and it's super, super fun. Rob, what about you? What's going on? Speaking of which, we have something going on Monday. So what's going on?
We don't actually. Every day but Saturdays and this Monday. Actually, you know what? So you are watching this tomorrow. Normally, John and I will be doing the Heroes World Sidekick Show at 8 o'clock Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're actually taking tomorrow night off. We are back to school. Listen, it's hard to believe. This is the unofficial end of summer in our neck of the woods. So
what happened?
I have no idea. I don't know. I think the evil Doctor Strange sucked out time and sucked over the summertime. So we're actually not going to be having a show tomorrow. However, we have a multitude of videos and shows that you can go back and watch throughout our channel. We will be back the following week.
What's the homework? What's the homework? Did you guys talk about what you guys are going to watch for the next week?
No, but if you tune into the Heroes World main show, you will next week we'll tell you, or just keep watching our social media channels. John and I will talk about it.
Maybe you'll give us a sneak peek on what did I miss on Thursday?
What I missed. We might just do that. But I do want to say this: everybody's going back to school. You're either going back on Tuesday or Thursday, depending on what board you're in and where you are in the province. Good luck. Best of luck to all those students. all those parents, and please have a lot of patience for teachers because they just got a whole bunch of shit tossed at them and they're not really sure how it's all supposed to work. So it's a trying time, it's a difficult time, and wishing all those little kids a safe and happy return on Tuesday or Thursday.
Good luck and Godspeed. So thank you all for joining us today in our review. Hopefully you'll remain safe out there. We'll see you next week, as we talk about What If episode 5 and our review on Shang-Chi. So
does anyone know what next week's episode is going to be? Is it? I'm waiting for the Killmonger episode. Is that happening?
It probably is, but we'll have a conversation. I have another topic that I want to wait for that, and we'll talk about it then. But yes,
I'm just excited to see what's going to be next. It's cool. I think it's really cool that the way they're doing this.
We're gonna see. Yeah, I think it's gonna be because they drop it every week, the little teaser before one. So I think that's probably gonna be the one with Michael B. Jordan. So we'll see. That John's more excited about that than Creed 3. So let's just see what happens. All right, thanks everyone.
Anything is more exciting than Creed 3.
100%. All right, have a good one. Bye.